Hey, Tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
Welcome to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Travel industry veteran Shane Whaley will take you on a journey with fellow tourpreneurs, sharing their tips, ideas, insights, and success stories to inspire you to make your tour business the best it can be. And now, here is your host, Shane Whaley.
Hello and welcome to episode 112 of Tourpreneur, the podcast where we flatten the learning curve for tour operators and tour professionals around the world. This week, I wanted to share a quick episode with you, some thoughts and a major learning from the Redeam tour guide Throwdown. Now, if you're not familiar with this is something that was brand new, hadn't been done before online, certainly not virtually, where tour guides around the world were invited to send in video of them giving a tour and be entered into the Throwdown with cash prizes, 4-figure cash prizes, right? So big credit to Redeam because, as I said, never been done before. They pulled this together in such a short amount of time. I was humbled and honored to be invited as a judge with 3 others. And the communications I had with Redeem were crystal clear, ran like clockwork. And I have to say that as someone who creates content weekly, and I alluded to some of this on episode 100, and I know you don't necessarily want to know how the sausage is made. There is a ton of work when you pull off an event like this. And I want to give Redeem huge amounts of kudos for pulling off the tour guide Throwdown, because what I really, really appreciated about this is we had 2 hours where we didn't talk COVID, we didn't talk lockdown, we didn't talk pandemic, we didn't talk bankruptcy, we didn't talk quarantine. And I'm not saying that we are burying our heads in the sand here at Tourpreneur, but how wonderful to just focus on and engage with very talented tour guides and to actually learn a little bit about their tours as well. And if anything, it just makes me more restless that I want to travel, and I'm looking forward to the days when I can get on a flight and get out and see some of these destinations. So I want to say a big thank you to Hollis Thomases and Milani at Redeem and their entire team, because were there some issues, there were some tech glitches, not really a huge surprise when you look at what they were trying to pull together. It took a little bit of time to get the results tallied up, but we got there in the end. And I give full kudos to them that it was a really positive event. Redeem, I hope you do this again. I'm sure Hollis is horrified at the idea right now, but after a couple of days rest, I'm sure she'll be excited to do it again because it was just positive. And seeing tour guides be engaged and doing what they do best, I loved it. Now, my biggest learning here with being a judge was we had a Google sheet with each of our names on a tab with criteria. So we'd set the criteria up beforehand. And obviously, I would enter my scores in. Then I was tempted to see, because I'm only human, nosy, in other words, how the other judges had scored the tour guide. But I made a pact with myself. I said, okay, I'm going to enter my scores in, but the minute I enter these scores in, if I go to another tab, I can't change my scores. I have to keep my scores as they are. And big lesson for me was I'd go in and I'd see, Nikki maybe has scored someone a 5, which was the top score on a particular category. And I've scored a 2. And immediately groupthink kicks in. And I'm like, oh, but Nikki's really, really experienced. She's a tour guide trainer. What, maybe I put the wrong score in here. But it's like, no, you've made a pact. And what was interesting, as we went through the 2 hours and I looked at the other judge scores, first of all, I never did change any of my scores, okay? So I was able to overcome groupthink. But secondly, it was amazing to me to see how we all scored the tour guides very differently. And there wasn't, a consistent, everyone scored high on certain categories. It was all over the place. And it just goes to show the difficult job we have as tour guides. Because you don't know who's going to turn up at that, particularly if it's a walk-in tour or bike tour. You don't know who's going to turn up at that meeting point. Are they reserved? Are they quiet? Are they history buffs? Are they hungover? And, I did think to myself, having worked in sales all my life, that when you sell, you kind of have to match the personality of the person that you're selling to. Otherwise, it's just a nightmare. And Rod Cuthbert said something. So Rod, the founder of Viator, was also one of the judges. And to one of the participants, he said, your energy levels are through the roof. You're an 11 out of 10. And that kind of personality doesn't always jive with people. Some people don't like that. And other people crave it. And I guess my question for tour guides is, do you change the way you deliver a tour based on the dynamics of the group? Or do you say, no, I am an 11. I am proud of my city. I love what I'm going to show on my tour. And by the end of this tour, everyone else here is going to be an 11 because they're going to be excited. So that was a question that I would love to ask you. I would love to read your comments in our Facebook group, which you can find at tourpreneur.com/Facebook. Again, I just want to say to the Redeam team, what a tremendous event. Really enjoyed it. And I hope that you continue to host these in the future. I want to also say a huge well done to all the semi-finalists. That was Melina Aguirre of Isla Caribe Tour in Puerto Rico, Michael Angeletti at Niagara and Toronto Tours, Mike Carter at Tour Guides Toronto, Gary Dennis at New York Tours by Gary, Kevin Joseph of Royal Carriages, Matt Levy at the Levy's Unique New York, Jonathan Miller at Smart Tours, Chloe Proscodimo at Go West Tours, Chris Reel Rent-A-Tour, Karen Risco City Tour Detroit, Eva Sila at Secret Zagreb, and Paul Stewart at Invisible Cities. Paul broke my heart with something he said about one of his tours. He debunked a myth that I've believed for a long time. And if you've watched the movie Greyfriars Bobby, you're going to be gutted as well. But I'm not going to say any more than that because you need to go on one of Paul's tours at Invisible Cities. So well done to all of you. If you want to go see who the winners are, go to tourguidethrowdown.com and the winners are there for you to see. Before we wrap up, I still am running the survey on what you want to hear on future episodes of Tourpreneur. If you go to tourpreneur.com/112, the survey is there. It won't take you more than 5 minutes. And it's very interesting for me to read so far the results. And something that came out, 3 areas came out very strongly. You definitely want to have a Meet the OTA feature. So I might run that monthly. I've just recorded an episode with Carly Lawyer Stelfox. Carly Stelfox Lawyer even. It's Sunday afternoon, come on. She's the regional manager at Get Your Guide US West, and with a tour operator who's doing really, really well with Get Your Guide. So we're going to hear all about that and how that relationship works. And I'd like to do this once a month. So if you're an OTA and you would like to come on and talk with one of your customers who's doing particularly well, the doors are open for that. The next one was Meet the Res Tech, very high scores. And I get it, because this is one of the biggest decisions we have to make for our businesses, is who's going to do the plumbing for our online booking. And so that the format that was voted on that people really want to hear, what you want to hear, is not a sales pitch, not an infomercial, but the salesperson or an account manager, market manager, call it what you will, from the Res Tech with an existing customer who's doing well using that system or booking platform, and also with a tour operator who's shopping around, so is in the market. And I love that mix, because you've got the official view from the Res Tech company, you've got the view from someone who's worked with that Res Tech, so we could talk about the good things that they're doing, and then also the person who's shopping around, because they hopefully will ask questions that you might have. And that actually is something I'm going to be working on. I get a lot of emails here from you saying, hey, I need a new booking platform. I don't really know what I need. I don't know what I don't know. So we'd love to come up with an exhaustive document that will be free. And you can go on to tourpreneur.com and download that ready for when you're shopping. So they were the two major areas. You also told me how much you love the interviews with tour operators. And I thank you for that, because during this time of COVID, it's tricky to produce content. I'm trying to read the room. I don't want to give false hope. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. But it's clear from the feedback from you that you enjoy hearing tour operator stories. So we will definitely be continuing with that. And also technology. You seem to be very interested in me having some kind of tech come onto the show once a month, a little profile about some tool or app or service that they have, which will be a big help to tourpreneurs. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Again, you can have your say on what you want to hear on Tourpreneur. If you go to tourpreneur.com/112. Some of you will notice I've jumped ahead a little bit in terms of the episodes, and that's because in terms of being efficient, I've tried to record a couple of weeks in advance, and they're all off to the editors with their intros, so I've had to call this one 112. So again, how the sausage is made. Are you really that bothered? I don't know, but I just wanted to explain it in case you felt there was a couple of episodes missing. I hope you have a great week. I hope you and your family are all safe, healthy, and well, and just try and keep your chin up. I know it's difficult out there, relentless bad news that we're reading about, but let's keep our chin up and keep fighting. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Be sure to visit tourpreneur.com to join the conversation and access the show notes, including links to the resources mentioned on today's episode. This is Tourpreneur.